All right, let's talk about surviving the zombie apocalypse. And I'm not just talking about making it through the first week when everyone's panicking and raiding grocery stores. I'm talking about building a fortress that'll keep you alive for months, maybe years, while the rest of the world is shuffling around, moaning and trying to eat your face. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking you need a bunker, you need guns, you need a farm in the middle of nowhere. And yeah, that'd be nice. But here's the reality. Most of us are starting from our regular homes with whatever we've got lying around, so that's exactly where we're going to start. Let me break this down into 5 tiers, and I'm going to walk you through every single detail because when the dead start walking, you're not going to have time to Google how to purify water or which window to board up first. Tier 1 is what I call the $0 defense. This is everything you can do right now, tonight, without spending a single penny. And don't skip this part thinking it's not important. This foundation is what's going to keep you breathing in those first critical 72 hours when the chaos hits. Let's start with water, because you can survive 3 weeks without food, but only 3 days without water. And when the zombies come, the water treatment plants aren't going to be running for long. So here's what you do. Right now, you need to know where every single container in your house is. I'm talking bathtubs, sinks, pots, pans, empty soda bottles, old milk jugs you've been meaning to throw out, that big plastic storage bin in the garage, everything. When you hear the first news reports of people attacking each other, when you see your neighbor acting weird, that's your signal. You fill every single one of these containers with water. Don't wait. Don't think about it, just fill 'em. Here's the technique. Start with your bathtubs because they hold the most. A standard bathtub holds about 40 to 60 gallons, but here's the trick. Clean it first. I mean really scrub it with soap, rinse it completely because you're going to be drinking this water. Then plug it up, and I don't mean just the normal stopper. Put some plastic wrap over the drain first, then the stopper because those stoppers leak. Fill it all the way to the overflow drain. Do this for every tub in your house. Next, your sinks. Same process. Clean them, plug them, fill them. Your kitchen sink, bathroom sinks, all of them. That's another 10 to 20 gallons right there. Now, bottles and containers. Here's what most people don't think about. You know those 2-liter soda bottles? Those are perfect because they're food-grade plastic and they seal tight. Rinse them out really well, especially if they had soda in them, because sugar water will grow bacteria like crazy. Fill them with tap water and seal them tight. You can stack these in closets, under beds, anywhere. Same with milk jugs, but milk jugs are a little less durable, so use those first. But let me tell you something nobody talks about, your hot water heater. Most people have a 40 to 50 gallon hot water heater in their house, and they completely forget about it. That's clean, drinkable water sitting right there. You need to know how to access it. There's a drain valve at the bottom of the tank. You turn off the water supply to the house, turn off the power or gas to the heater, and then you can drain water from that valve into containers. Learn where this is now. Practice opening that valve now because you do not want to be figuring this out when there's zombies scratching at your door. And here's another water source nobody thinks about, your toilet tanks. Not the bowl, the tank. There's usually 1 to 2 gallons of clean water in there. It's the same water that comes from your tap. Just make sure you haven't put any of those blue toilet bowl cleaners in there. Now let's talk about storing this water long term. Water in sealed containers will stay good for about 6 months, but you can extend that. The key is keeping it away from sunlight and heat. Light causes algae growth. Heat causes the plastic to break down and leach chemicals. So you're storing these in closets, under beds, in basements, anywhere dark and cool. If you need to purify questionable water later, here's how you do it. You can boil it. 1 minute at a rolling boil kills pretty much everything, but that requires fuel and makes noise and heat, which attracts zombies. So better option, bleach. Regular, unscented household bleach, the kind that's 5 to 6% sodium hypochlorite. You add 8 drops per gallon of clear water, 16 drops if the water's cloudy. Mix it up, let it sit for 30 minutes. It should smell slightly of chlorine. If it doesn't, add another round and wait another 30 minutes. This'll kill bacteria and viruses. It won't remove chemicals or heavy metals, but it'll keep you from getting dysentery. Moving on to food. Your pantry right now probably has more food than you think, but it's all jumbled up and you don't know what you have or when it expires. So here's what you do. Tonight, you take everything out of your pantry, everything. Then you organize it by type. All the canned vegetables together, all the pasta together, all the rice together. Now write the expiration dates on the top of each can with a permanent marker, big enough that you can see it easily. Then you put everything back in order with the shortest expiration dates in front. This is called first in, first out rotation. You eat the stuff that's going to expire first, and as you use things, you replace them, putting the new stuff in back. This means your stockpile is always rotating, always fresh, and you know exactly what you have. But let's talk about what foods actually last and which ones are worth stockpiling. Rice and beans, these are your foundation. White rice will last 4 to 5 years if you keep it in a cool, dry place. Brown rice only lasts about 6 months because the oils go rancid. Dried beans last about 2 to 3 years. Together, rice and beans give you a complete protein. That means all the amino acids your body needs. Canned goods are incredible. Most canned foods will last 2 to 5 years, and honestly, they're often safe way beyond that. The expiration date is about peak quality, not safety. I've eaten canned food that was 10 years old and it was fine. But here's the thing, you need a variety. You need canned vegetables, canned fruits, canned meats like tuna and chicken, canned soups. Don't just buy 50 cans of green beans. You need nutrition diversity. Pasta lasts forever if you keep it dry. We're talking years, but it's just carbs, so you need to pair it with protein and fats. Peanut butter is amazing for this. It's calorie-dense, has protein and fat, and unopened jars last 1 to 2 years, sometimes longer. Salt, sugar, honey, these last indefinitely if stored properly. Honey literally never goes bad. They found honey in ancient Egyptian tombs that's still edible. Salt is a preservative and also essential for your body. Sugar gives you quick energy. Cooking oil is important but tricky. Vegetable oil lasts about 2 years unopened. Once opened, 6 months to a year, but it's crucial for calories and for cooking. Olive oil lasts a bit longer. Now, here's what most people get wrong about food storage. They think they need all this fancy freeze-dried survival food. And sure, that stuff is great. It lasts 25 years, but it's expensive. The average person can build a 3-month food stockpile from regular grocery store food for about $150 to $200. You just buy a little extra every time you shop. A little extra bag of rice, few extra cans, another jar of peanut butter. Over a few months, you build it up. Storage is critical. You keep everything in a cool, dark, dry place. Heat and humidity are your enemies. They speed up spoilage. Rodents and bugs are your enemies too, so everything should be in sealed containers if possible. Those 5-gallon buckets with Gamma Seal lids are perfect for bulk rice and beans, but even just keeping things in their original packaging is fine if you don't have rodent problems. And here's something crucial. You need a way to cook this food when the power's out. Your electric stove is useless. Your microwave is useless. So what do you use? If you have a fireplace or a backyard, you can cook over fire, but that creates smoke, which attracts attention, both from zombies and from desperate people. So you need quiet, low-profile cooking methods. A camp stove is perfect. You can get a little single-burner propane camp stove for like $20, but we're in Tier 1, $0, things you already own. So let's talk about what you can make. You can build a rocket stove from bricks. You stack them in an L shape, small opening at the bottom for airflow and fuel, opening at the top for the pot. You feed small sticks into the bottom. It's incredibly efficient and uses very little fuel. There are designs all over the internet. Practice building one now in your backyard. Or even simpler, you can cook with tea lights, those little candles. Put a terracotta pot upside down over a few tea lights. It creates an oven. Or make a penny stove from 2 soda cans and some rubbing alcohol. Again, look up the designs now and practice. Now, shelter. Your house is your castle, but you need to turn it into a fortress.
First thing, you need to know your weak points. Walk around your house right now and think like a zombie. Where would you try to get in? The front door, sure, but also the back door, the garage door, those sliding glass doors, first floor windows, that basement window you always forget about. Every single entry point needs to be defensible. Let's start with doors. Your main doors probably have a deadbolt. That's good, but the weakest part of a door isn't the lock, it's the frame. When people kick in doors, the frame splinters around the lock, so you reinforce it. In Tier 1, $0, you use furniture, a heavy dresser pushed against the door, a couch wedged under the door handle, stack stuff heavy and high. But here's a technique that works even better. You take a long piece of wood, like a 2x4 or a broom handle, and you wedge it at an angle from the door handle to the floor. The angle creates incredible resistance. Even a weak door becomes very hard to open force. You can also use this on sliding glass doors. Put a broom handle or a cut piece of wood in the track so it can't slide open.
Windows are tricky. Glass breaks easily, so you need to make them harder to break and harder to climb through. The $0 version is furniture again. Move bookcases in front of windows, push beds against windows, hang blankets or sheets over them so zombies can't see inside. Out of sight, out of mind. But if you have some basic tools, and we're still in Tier 1, things you already own, you could do better. Take wooden boards, even plywood or thick cardboard in a pinch, and screw them or nail them over the windows from the inside. You want at least ½ inch thickness. Screw them into the window frame, not the wall. The frame is stronger. Do this to all first-floor windows. Here's the thing, though. You don't want to board up every window completely, because then you can't see out. You need observation points. So leave small gaps between boards or small peek holes. You need to see zombies before they see you. Your garage door is a huge weak point. If it's electric, it's not going to work without power anyway. And even with power, someone can pull the emergency release from outside and just lift the door up. So you secure it from the inside. Park your car right up against it. Put boards across it, wedged against the floor. Make it impossible to lift. Now let's talk about creating a safe room. This is your fallback position if they breach your outer defenses. It's usually a bathroom or a closet somewhere in the interior of the house with only one entry point. You stock this room with water, food, first aid, weapons, everything you need to survive for a few days. You reinforce that door more than any other, and you have a way to barricade it from the inside that can't be easily broken through. The bathroom is ideal because it has water from the toilet tank and usually has a small window you could escape through if absolutely necessary. You practice getting your family to this room quickly. You drill it like a fire drill. Climate control. When the power goes out, no more heat, no more AC. In winter, you're going to be cold. In summer, you're going to be hot. And you need to deal with this without making noise or attracting attention. For heat, layers are everything. You wear multiple thin layers rather than one thick layer because the air trapped between layers insulates you. You have blankets, sleeping bags, everything piled on your bed. You create a small tent over your bed with sheets, trapping body heat in a smaller space. It can be 10 to 15 degrees warmer inside that little tent. You sleep in the same room as other people. Body heat from multiple people in a small room adds up. You avoid rooms with lots of windows because windows leak heat like crazy. You pick an interior room, smaller is better, and everyone sleeps there. If you absolutely need heat and you're being careful, you can use tea light candles. 4 or 5 tea lights in a safe container, not near curtains or paper, will warm a small closed room by a few degrees. Or you make a hot water bottle from a plastic bottle filled with hot water wrapped in a towel and put it in your sleeping bag. If you've been cooking, you've got hot water anyway. For cooling in summer, it's harder. You need airflow, but you can't run fans without power. So you wet bandanas or t-shirts and wear them. The evaporation cools you down. You stay in the lowest level of your house because heat rises. Basements are perfect. You open windows at night to let cool air in, close them during the day to keep hot air out. You create cross-ventilation. Windows open on opposite sides of the house, creating a breeze. And you stay hydrated. Dehydration kills faster than heat itself. You drink water even if you're not thirsty. Security and awareness. You need to know what's happening around you without being seen. Mirrors are your friend. Small handheld mirrors let you look around corners or out windows without exposing yourself. You angle them to see down the street. You can also use them to signal other survivors if needed by reflecting sunlight. You create noise traps. Tin cans with pebbles inside strung on fishing line or string across entry points. If something trips the line, the cans rattle. You put them across your yard, across hallways, anywhere a zombie might stumble through. Gives you a few seconds of warning. You make weapons from household items. A kitchen knife duct-taped to a broom handle is a spear. A hammer is a hammer. A baseball bat is obvious. A heavy flashlight doubles as a club. You keep these weapons in strategic locations, one by every door, one in the safe room, one by your bed. You keep quiet. Zombies are attracted to noise, so no loud talking, no music, no banging around. You move slowly and deliberately. You teach kids to whisper. And you watch. You set up a watch schedule if you have multiple people. 2-hour shifts, someone always awake, always watching, looking for zombies, looking for threats, looking for opportunities. Sanitation. This is gross but critical. When the toilets stop flushing, and they will when the water stops, you need a plan. The bucket toilet is your answer. You take a 5-gallon bucket, line it with a trash bag, add some kitty litter or sawdust or even shredded newspaper at the bottom. Do your business, cover it with more litter. The litter absorbs moisture and controls smell. When the bag is about half full, you tie it off, take it outside to a designated waste area far from your house and water source, and bury it if possible, or at least get it away from where you're living. You have a separate bucket for urine, if possible, because liquid fills up bags fast. Urine is actually sterile when it comes out, so it's less of a disease risk. You can even dilute it and use it as fertilizer for plants, though that's more of a long-term thing. For washing, you're not taking showers. You're doing sponge baths with a bowl of water and a rag. Heat the water if you can for comfort, but cold water works. You use very little soap because you need to conserve it. A little goes a long way. You wash your critical areas: face, armpits, groin, feet. That keeps infections and odor down. Hand sanitizer is gold. A little squirt after you use the bathroom, before you eat, after touching anything questionable. It kills germs and uses way less water than washing. Trash is a problem. It piles up and attracts pests and smells and attention, so you minimize it. You burn paper products if you can do it safely and quietly. Plastic you bury or store in sealed bags in a location away from your living space. Food scraps can be composted if you have a yard, which also gives you fertilizer for growing food later, or bury them deep so animals don't dig them up. Speaking of pests, you need to be fanatical about keeping ants, flies, mice, and rats away. They carry disease. So all food is sealed in containers. All trash is removed daily. Crumbs are swept up immediately. If you get an infestation, you use traps. Old-fashioned snap traps for mice, fly strips for flies, borax mixed with sugar water for ants. That's Tier 1. $0, everything in your house right now. And if you do all of this properly, you can survive the first week to 2 weeks of a zombie outbreak. You've got water, food, shelter, basic security. You're way ahead of 90% of people who are panicking and scrambling. But let's level up. Tier 2 is where you spend a little money, $100 to $500, to significantly improve your survival chances. Water first. You're buying dedicated water storage. 5-gallon jugs, the kind you see on water coolers. Get 4 of them. That's 20 gallons of clean water. You can stack them, they're durable, they pour easily. But here's the important part. When you fill them, you add 2 drops of bleach per gallon to keep them fresh for long-term storage. Then you store them somewhere dark and cool, and you rotate them every 6 months. Drink the old water, refill with fresh. You also buy a water filter. Not a Brita, that's not enough. You need something that filters out bacteria and parasites. A Life straw is about $20, and it lets you drink from puddles, streams, whatever. It filters out 99.99% of bacteria and parasites. Each straw is good for 1,000 liters. Or you get a Sawyer Mini, similar price, similar function, but you can attach it to bottles or use it as a straw. If you want to go a step up, a gravity filter like a Platypus Gravity Works runs about $100, but it can filter liters at a time for a group. You hang it up, dirty water goes in the top bag, clean water comes out the bottom. No pumping, no effort. You also get water purification tablets, about $10 for a 50-pack. These are backup. Each tablet treats a liter of water. It's not as good as filtering, but it's light, portable, lasts forever on the shelf. Collapsible water containers are brilliant. When they're empty, they fold flat and take up no space. When you need them, they hold 5 or 10 gallons, about $30. Throw a couple in your supplies. Food. This is where you spend the bulk of your Tier 2 budget. You're buying a proper 30-day supply of staples. 50 pounds of white rice, about $20, 25 pounds of dried beans, about $15, various canned goods, vegetables, fruits, meats, soups, another $100 easy. You're buying in bulk because it's cheaper per serving. Salt, sugar, flour, oil, spices. These make bland food edible. A big container of salt is like $2, and it's essential for preservation and for your body. Same thing with sugar. Flour lets you make bread if you have a way to bake. Oil is calories and fat.
But here's what people forget: vitamins. When you're eating a limited diet, you're missing nutrients. A bottle of multivitamins is $20 and it lasts months. Take one day. It prevents scurvy, beriberi, all those fun deficiency diseases. And you need variety to prevent food fatigue. If you eat rice and beans every single day, after 2 weeks, you're going to start losing appetite, even though you're hungry. That's dangerous. So you include comfort foods, hot chocolate mix, instant coffee, tea bags, hard candies, beef jerky, whatever you like. These keep morale up. Now cooking. You buy a small propane camp stove, single burner, about $25. Then you buy propane canisters. The small green ones are about $4 each and last 1 to 2 hours of cooking. Get 10 of them for $40. That's 20 hours of cooking time, enough to make basic meals for a month if you're efficient. Or if you want to go cheaper, you get a little camp stove that runs on denatured alcohol or heat gas line antifreeze. The stove itself is like $15, and a bottle of fuel is $3 and lasts several hours. These are quieter and produce less smell than propane. You also get a manual can opener. Sounds stupid, but electric openers don't work without power, and pull-tab cans aren't universal. A good manual can opener is $5. Get 2 in case one breaks. Power and light. You can't run your fridge, your TV, your Xbox, but you can have light and communication. LED flashlights are way better than old incandescent ones. They use less battery and last way longer. A good LED flashlight is $10 to $20. Get 3 or 4. Then you stock up on batteries. AA and AAA. Get a variety pack, about $20. But batteries run out, so you also get a hand crank flashlight, about $15. You crank it for a minute, you get 30 minutes of light. No batteries needed ever. Same thing with a hand crank radio, $20 to $30. You can listen to emergency broadcasts, get news about what's happening, and you're not dependent on batteries. A solar phone charger is clutch, $30 to $40. You leave it in the sun during the day, it charges a battery pack. At night, you charge your phone. Your phone is still useful even without service. It's a flashlight, a camera. You can download maps and guides offline. It's a calculator, an alarm clock. Keep it charged. Candles, simple wax candles. You can get a pack of 50 tea lights for like $10. Each one burns for 4 hours. That's 200 hours of light. You use them sparingly, one at a time in the evening, blow it out when you're done. Keep them away from flammables. Matches and lighters. Get waterproof matches, about $5 for a box of 50. Get a few Bic lighters, $1 each. Fire is life. You need redundancy. Medical supplies. You cannot go to a hospital. Hospitals will be overrun with infected people within hours of an outbreak, so you're treating everything yourself. A good first aid kit costs $40 to $60 and has bandages, gauze, antiseptic, pain relievers,
Tweezers, scissors, medical tape, all the basics. But you also buy extra pain relievers, ibuprofen and acetaminophen, extra antibiotic ointment that prevents infection and cuts, extra bandages in various sizes, elastic bandages for sprains, burn cream, anti-diarrheal medication because bad food or bad water will wreck you, antihistamines for allergic reactions. If you're on prescription medications, you talk to your doctor about getting an extra 30-day supply. Tell them you're going on an extended trip. Most doctors will write you a script. This is life or death if you're diabetic or have a heart condition or any chronic illness. You also get dental supplies, toothbrushes, toothpaste, floss. Dental infections are excruciating and can kill you. Keep your teeth clean. Tools. A good multi-tool is $30 to $40 and it has pliers, knives, screwdrivers, everything. It goes on your belt. A crowbar is about $15 and it's amazing for prying, breaking, defending. Duct tape, about $5 a roll. Get 3 rolls. Duct tape fixes everything. Paracord, $10 for 100 feet. You use it to tie, to secure, to build. Zip ties, a pack for $5, quick and strong for fastening. Shelter upgrades. Mylar emergency blankets are $1 each. They're thin sheets of metallic plastic. They reflect 90% of body heat back to you. You wrap yourself in one and it's like being in a sleeping bag. Get a dozen. They also work as signaling devices because they're shiny, or as ground covers, or to tape over windows for extra insulation. Plastic sheeting, 10 feet by 10 feet, about $10. You use it to cover broken windows, to create waterproof shelters, to catch rainwater. Get a couple rolls. Heavy-duty tarps, about $20 each for a big one. Same uses, but more durable. You buy a battery-powered carbon monoxide detector, about $25. If you're burning anything indoors for heat or cooking, you risk carbon monoxide poisoning. It's odorless and it kills you in your sleep. The detector screams if levels get dangerous, worth every penny. Hygiene. Stock up on toilet paper. A mega pack is $20 and has 30 rolls. It's bulky, but you'll use it. Also stock up on soap. Shampoo if you want, though it's not essential. Feminine hygiene products if applicable. Baby wipes for cleaning yourself when you can't shower. Trash bags in various sizes. Communication. If you have family or friends in different locations, you want a way to stay in touch. Cell towers won't work for long, but walkie-talkies will. A pair of decent ones with a 10-mile range costs about $40. Line of sight range so they won't work across a whole city, but within a neighborhood, or if you're out scavenging and your family is at home, they're perfect. You can communicate without giving away your position to every zombie in earshot. Security upgrades. Pepper spray, about $15. It stops a human attacker instantly. It won't do much to a zombie, but it's good for living threats. A personal alarm, $5. You pull a pin and it screams at 130 decibels, scares off attackers, attracts help, or in a zombie scenario, you can use it as a distraction. Throw it away from you and zombies follow the noise. Better locks for your doors. A new deadbolt is $20 to $30 and you install it yourself. A new door reinforcement kit with a heavy-duty strike plate is another $30. These make your door significantly harder to kick in. Motion sensor lights, but you want solar-powered ones so they still work when the grid is down. About $15 each. You put them at entry points. They flash on when something moves, startling intruders and alerting you. Just make sure you can turn them off when you need stealth. So, Tier 2, you spent $300 to $500 depending on what you buy, and now you can survive comfortably for a month, maybe 6 weeks. You've got redundancy, you've got comfort, you've got security. You're in the top 10% of prepared people. Tier 3, we're getting serious. You're spending $500 to $2,000 and you're preparing for the long haul, several months to a year. Water first. You're buying a big water storage barrel. A 55-gallon food-grade barrel is about $100. You fill it once and it's good for 6 months to a year if you add a water preserver solution, about $10. That's one person's water for almost 2 months at a gallon a day, or a family's water for 2 weeks. You also buy a serious water filter. A Berkey or a similar gravity-fed system is $250 to $400, but it filters thousands of gallons. It removes bacteria, parasites, chemicals, heavy metals, viruses, everything. You pour dirty water in the top, clean water comes out the bottom. No power needed. This is a game changer because it means any water source, a river, a pond, even a puddle, can be made drinkable. You set up a rainwater catchment system. If you have gutters, you redirect them into barrels.
A rain barrel with a filter screen is about $100. A moderate rainfall can fill a 50-gallon barrel in an hour. This is free water falling from the sky. You filter it with your Berkey, and you've got unlimited water as long as it rains. Food. You're buying a 90-day supply now. More bulk rice and beans, another $100, but you're also investing in freeze-dried food. A month's supply of freeze-dried meals designed for camping or emergencies costs about $500 to $600. This stuff lasts 25 years. Just add hot water, and it's actually tasty. Brands like Mountain House or Wise Company. You get a vacuum sealer, about $100 to $100. This sucks the air out of bags and heat seals them. You use this to repackage bulk food into smaller portions. It extends shelf life by months or years because there's no oxygen to spoil the food. You can vacuum seal rice, pasta, nuts, dried fruit, anything. You get Mylar bags and oxygen absorbers for ultimate food storage. Line the bucket with a Mylar bag, fill it with rice, drop in an oxygen absorber, seal the Mylar bag with an iron or hair straightener, close the bucket. The food inside will last 20 to 30 years. A pack of Mylar bags and oxygen absorbers is about $20. Sprouting seeds, $15 to $20 for a variety pack. You can sprout beans, lentils, alfalfa seeds, and have fresh greens in 3 to 5 days. This gives you vitamins and nutrients that stored food lacks. You just need a jar, some water, and you rinse them twice a day. If you have a yard, you start thinking about a garden. Seeds are cheap. A packet is $1 or $2. Heirloom seeds, which means you can save seeds from the plants you grow and plant them again, are a bit more, but worth it. A seed vault with a variety of vegetables is about $50 and could feed you for years if you know what you're doing. Fishing and hunting supplies. If you're near water, a basic fishing rod and tackle box is about $30 to $50. Fish are protein, and if you know how to fish, you've got a renewable food source. Traps and snares for small game, another $20 to $30. I'm not saying go out and become a hunter overnight, but if you're facing starvation, you'll learn fast. Power. This is where Tier 3 really shines. You're investing in a solar power system. A portable solar generator, something like a Jackery or a Gold Zero, runs about $400 to $600 for a 500 watt-hour model. This charges from solar panels and can run small devices. You can charge phones, run a small fan, power LED lights, even run a laptop for a while. Then you buy solar panels. A 100-watt portable panel is about $150 to $200. You set it outside during the day, it charges your generator. Free energy from the sun. This gives you power indefinitely.
A rechargeable battery bank, separate from the solar generator, about $50 for a good 20,000 milliamp hour one. This is for charging phones and small devices multiple times. Car adapters that plug into your 12-volt outlets, about $10 each. You can charge stuff from your car battery while the car is running. If you idle your car for an hour, you can charge a lot of devices, but be sparing with this because you're using gasoline. If you want to go traditional, a gas generator, a small 2,000-watt inverter generator is about $500 to $800. It's quieter than old-school generators and more fuel-efficient, but it runs on gasoline, which you need to stockpile. 5-gallon gas cans, about $15 each. You can legally store about 25 gallons at a home depending on local laws. Add fuel stabilizer, about $10 a bottle, and the gas lasts 1 to 2 years instead of going bad in 3 months. Heating and cooling. A propane heater that's designed for indoor use. These run about $100 to $150. They have oxygen depletion sensors and tip-over shutoffs, so they're safer. A 20-pound propane tank is about $50 to fill and will run the heater for days. This can heat a room to livable temperatures even in winter. Extinguishers. This is life safety. If you're cooking with open flames or running heaters, fire risk goes way up. An ABC fire extinguisher is about $30. Get 3. One in the kitchen, one near where you're heating, one in your safe room. Shelter hardening. Window security film. About $50 per window. This is a thick plastic film you apply to the inside of the glass. When something hits the window, the glass might crack, but it doesn't shatter and fall out. It stays in place. This makes windows much harder to break through. Door reinforcement, beyond Tier 2. There are kits that include a metal plate that bolts through the door and frame, about $150, or you DIY it with metal angle braces from the hardware store, about $20 in materials. You're basically making it so even if someone has a battering ram, the door holds. A chainsaw or a good bow saw, about $150 for a chainsaw, $20 for a bow saw. If you need to cut wood for fuel, for building, for clearing, you need a way to do it efficiently. Chainsaws are loud though, so a bow saw might be better for stealth. Axe and hatchet, about $30 each. Splitting wood, breaking down materials, defense. Shovels, a pointed spade and a flat shovel, about $20 each. Digging latrines, burying waste, gardening, building defenses. Tools in general, a basic toolkit if you don't have one. Hammer, screwdrivers, wrenches, pliers, saws, about $100 for a decent set. You'll need to repair things, build things, improvise things. Security. This is where Tier 3 gets into real defense. A proper home security camera system. The battery-powered wireless ones that use Wi-Fi won't work when the internet is down, but there are systems that record locally to a hard drive or SD card, about $300 to $600 for a 4 to 8 camera setup. You mount these around your property. Even without Wi-Fi, you can see who or what is approaching on a monitor inside. Some systems have solar panel options to keep them powered. Two-way radios, better than Tier 2. You want ones with a longer range, 20 to 30 miles, about $80 to $100 for a pair. These also have privacy codes, so not everyone on the same frequency can hear you. Night vision or thermal imaging. This is expensive. A basic night vision monocular is about $300. Thermal is way more, starting at about $1,000. But if you can see in the dark and others can't, you have a massive advantage. You can see zombies or intruders coming from a distance at night. Binoculars, even just regular ones, about $50 for decent quality. You scout from a distance before you move. You watch for threats. Medical upgrades. You take a wilderness first aid course or a first responder course. These cost about $100 to $300, but the knowledge is invaluable. You learn to treat serious injuries, broken bones, deep cuts, burns. You learn CPR. When there's no ambulance coming, you're the ambulance. An advanced trauma kit. This has tourniquets, bandages, chest seals, quick clot, stuff for treating serious bleeding and injuries, about $100 to $150. If someone gets bitten, if there's an accident, if there's a fight, you can save their life. Fish antibiotics. This is controversial. Fish antibiotics are the same chemical compounds as human antibiotics, but sold without prescription for treating fish. Amoxicillin, doxycycline, others, about $20 to $40. In a collapsed scenario where there's no doctors, these could treat bacterial infections that would otherwise kill you. But you need to know what you're doing. Dosages, which antibiotic for which infection. Do your research beforehand. A manual for medical care. A book like Where There Is No Doctor or the Survival Medicine Handbook, about $20. Physical book, not a digital copy. When the internet is gone, you have this reference. Communications beyond radios. A weather radio that picks up NOAA broadcasts, about $40. You get severe weather warnings and emergency broadcasts. In an emergency, the government often broadcasts information on these frequencies. If you really want to invest, a ham radio setup. This requires a license, but the test is easy and cheap. A basic ham radio is about $150 to $300. With this, you can communicate hundreds or even thousands of miles, depending on conditions. You get news from other parts of the country, coordinate with other groups, call for help if help exists. That's Tier 3. You're spending up to $2,000, but you're set for months. You have power, water, food, security, medical, communications. You're not just surviving, you're living with some degree of comfort and safety. You're in the top 5%. Tier 4 is where we get into advanced preparedness. $2,000 to $10,000. You're thinking long-term. 6 months to a year or more. Water. You're considering a well or a borehole with a hand pump. If you own your property and you're in an area with a water table, you can drill. A shallow well with a hand pump costs about $2,000 to $5,000 depending on depth and location. This is unlimited water forever as long as you can pump it. Or a whole house water filtration system installed on your main water line, about $800 to $1,000. Even if city water is contaminated or intermittent, anything that comes through gets filtered. You have multiple 275-gallon IBC totes, the big industrial tanks. They're about $150 each. 2 of them is 550 gallons, enough for one person for a year or a family for months. Food. A full year's supply of freeze-dried food for a family costs about $3,000 to $4,000. Plus, you're still stockpiling bulk staples. Your goal is a year of food minimum. A greenhouse. If you have a yard, you build or buy a greenhouse. A small one is about $500 to $1,000 in materials. A bigger kit is about $1,500. With a greenhouse, you grow food year-round, protected from weather and from being seen. You grow tomatoes, peppers, lettuce, herbs, all year. A dehydrator for preserving food, about $150 to $200. You take fresh produce or meat, slice it thin, dehydrate it, and it lasts months or years. Beef jerky, dried fruit, dried vegetables. A pressure canner. About $150 to $200. This lets you can your own food, meat, vegetables, anything. Properly canned food lasts years. An heirloom seed vault, a big one with hundreds of varieties, about $100. You have seeds for every vegetable you could want. If you're in a rural area, chickens. A chicken coop kit is about $300 to $500. Chickens themselves are about $20 each. 6 chickens will give you 3 to 4 eggs a day. That's protein, fat, vitamins, fresh. Chickens also eat scraps and bugs. They're low maintenance. Rabbits are another option. A hutch is about $100. Rabbits breed like, well, rabbits. They're quiet, they eat grass and vegetable scraps, and they provide meat. A pair of rabbits can turn into dozens in a year. Power. A whole house solar array. This is the big one. A 3 to 5 kilowatt system costs about $6,000 to $10,000 installed. With this, you can run your fridge, some lights, fans, charge everything. If you have battery storage, another few $1,000s, you can store power for nighttime use. This is independence from the grid. Or a standby generator that powers your whole house, 7,000 to 10,000 watts. These cost about $3,000 to $5,000 plus installation. They run on natural gas or propane. If you have a large propane tank, 500 gallons, you can run the generator for weeks. Deep cycle battery banks for storing power, about $800 to $1,500 for a decent setup. These work with solar panels or generators. Climate control. A wood stove with a chimney installation. This costs about $2,000 to $4,000, but it's amazing. It heats your whole house using wood, which is a renewable resource if you're in a wooded area. You cut down trees, split the wood, burn it. No electricity needed, no gas needed. And you can cook on top of it. Security. A professionally installed security system with cameras, motion sensors, alarms, about $2,000 to $5,000. But you want one that works off-grid, so battery backup and local storage. A safe room or panic room. You reinforce an interior room with steel doors, reinforced walls, supplies. This can cost about $2,000 to $5,000 depending on how far you go, but it's a place that can withstand a sustained attack. Perimeter fencing improvements. If you have a yard, you upgrade your fence. A privacy fence is about $15 to $30 per linear foot installed. A chain link fence is cheaper, about $10 to $15 per foot. The goal is to make your property harder to access, harder to see into. Firearms and training. This is location and legally dependent, but in a zombie apocalypse, you're facing walking corpses and potentially desperate people. A shotgun is about $200 to $500. A rifle is about $400 to $1,000. A pistol is about $300 to $700. Ammunition is expensive, especially now, but you stock up, a few hundred rounds per firearm. And critically, you get training. A basic firearms safety and marksmanship course is about $100 to $300. You practice regularly. An untrained person with a gun is more dangerous to themselves than to zombies. Guard dog. A trained protection dog costs about $1,000 to $2,000 or more, but a dog doesn't just bark, it can actually attack intruders. Plus, it's a companion, it's morale. Communications. A more advanced ham radio setup with higher power and better antennas, about $500 to $1,500. You can communicate across states or even internationally depending on atmospheric conditions. A satellite phone or satellite communicator, like a Garmin InReach. These are about $400 to $600 for the device, plus monthly service about $30 to $50. But they work anywhere on the planet, no cell towers needed. In a collapse, if there are still satellites, you can call for help or communicate with distant groups. Medical. Extensive advanced medical training. A wilderness EMT course is about $1,000 to $2,000. You learn advanced stuff, IVs, medications, trauma care beyond basic first aid. A comprehensive medical stockpile. Prescription antibiotics, if you can get them from a doctor, about $200 to $500 for a variety. IV supplies, sutures, surgical instruments, about $500. An oxygen concentrator, about $800. This takes room air and concentrates the oxygen, useful for respiratory issues. An AED, automated external defibrillator, about $1,200. This can restart a heart in cardiac arrest. Simple to use, instructions talk you through it. Dental equipment. Basic dental tools, about $100. Temporary filling kits, about $20. In a long-term scenario, toothaches and dental infections are brutal. Shelter improvements. A storm shelter, tornado or hurricane rated. This is a safe space that can withstand extreme winds. A prefab one installed costs about $3,000 to $8,000. It doubles as a safe room. A backup septic system if your main one fails. A composting toilet system is about $1,000 to $3,000. No water needed, waste composts into fertilizer. Insulation improvements to your home. Blown-in insulation or spray foam, about $1,500 for an average house. This keeps heat in during winter and cool in the summer, reducing your need for active heating and cooling. That's Tier 4. You're spending up to $10,000, but you're set for a year or more. You have food production, power production, water production. You're essentially off-grid. You're in the top 1% of prepared people. Tier 5 is extreme. This is for people who are all in on preparedness. $10,000 and up, no real ceiling. You're preparing for complete societal collapse lasting years. At this level, you're often looking at property acquisition, a rural retreat, defensible, away from population centers, maybe even some land. This is location dependent, but you're talking tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands for property. You're building or installing a bunker, an underground shelter. These range from about $30,000 to over $100,000 depending on size and features. Reinforced concrete, NBC air filtration, multiple entrances, living quarters, storage, the works. This protects from nuclear fallout, from mobs, from anything. Water. A deep well with both a hand pump and a solar pump system. $8,000 to $15,000. Unlimited water forever, pumped automatically or manually. Massive rainwater catchment, 10,000-gallon plus capacity. Multiple IBC totes or big cisterns, $3,000 to $8,000 in tanks and setup. A gray water recycling system that filters and reuses water from sinks and showers for irrigation, $2,000 to $5,000. An aquaponics system which combines fish and plants. The fish provide fertilizer for the plants filter the water for the fish. It's a closed-loop ecosystem. $2,000 to $5,000 for a decent setup. You get fish for protein and vegetables for vitamins. Food, multi-year supply. $10,000 to $20,000 for freeze-dried food, plus you're growing a significant portion of your food. A large climate-controlled greenhouse, 10 by 20 feet or bigger, $5,000 to $15,000. You're growing year-round at scale. Livestock beyond chickens and rabbits, goats, maybe a cow if you have the space. Goats are about 100 to 300 each and provide milk. The infrastructure, pens, feed, about $2,000 to $5,000. An orchard or food forest, planting fruit and nut trees. The trees themselves are about $20 to $50 each, but you plant dozens. Over a few years, they produce hundreds of pounds of food annually for decades. Commercial-grade food preservation. A big walk-in freezer if you have power, about $3,000. A commercial dehydrator, about $1,000. Energy. A massive off-grid solar system, 10 kilowatts or more, $25,000 to $50,000. This powers everything, indefinitely. A wind turbine if you're in a windy area, $5,000 to $15,000, supplements solar. Multiple backup generators with automatic transfer switches, $8,000 or more. Enough fuel storage for a year or more, multiple large propane tanks or diesel tanks, $2,000 to $5,000 in tanks and fuel. An EMP-protected cache of electronics. If there's an EMP, electromagnetic pulse from a nuclear blast or solar flare, it fries electronics. But if you store backup electronics in a Faraday cage, basically a metal box that blocks electromagnetic radiation, they're protected. $1,000 in redundant gear. Security. Professional security assessment. You hire experts to evaluate your property and make recommendations, $1,000 to $3,000. Hardened perimeter, 8-foot fencing, maybe even double fencing with barbed wire or razor wire on top, $10,000 or more depending on property size. Advanced surveillance, thermal cameras, night vision, motion sensors, everything, $3,000 to $8,000. Vehicle modifications, reinforcing your bug-out vehicle, run-flat tires, skid plates, brush guards, cargo racks, long-range fuel tanks, $5,000 to $15,000. More firearms, more ammo. You have redundancy. If one gun breaks, you have another. You have thousands of rounds of ammunition, $3,000 to $10,000. Training, professional tactical training, firearms courses, medical courses, everything, $2,000 to $5,000. Secure communications, an encrypted radio system. You can talk to your group without others listening in, $2,000 to $5,000. Infrastructure, a workshop with tools for building, repairing, fabricating, saws, drills, welding equipment, machining tools, $5,000 to $15,000. You can make parts, repair anything. Medical, a full medical facility. This is a room set up like a clinic, exam table, surgical instruments, medications, everything, $10,000 or more. Long-term medication stockpile. If you're on meds, you have years' worth. Depending on the medication, $2,000 to $5,000 or more. Medical library, physical books on medicine, surgery, dentistry, everything, $500 to $1,000. Dental chair and equipment, $2,000. You can do basic dentistry. Community. At this level, you're probably not alone. You're part of a group, multiple families, maybe 10 to 50 people. You're pooling resources, skills, defenses. The costs are shared, but the overall investment is massive. Trade goods stockpile. Things that have value in barter. Ammunition, tobacco, coffee, medications, $3,000 to $5,000. You can trade for things you need. Precious metals, gold and silver. These have value in collapse scenarios, $5,000 to $20,000 or more. Transportation, a bug-out vehicle that's serious, a large four-wheel drive truck or SUV modified for overland travel, $10,000 to $30,000 if you're buying used and modifying. A trailer for hauling gear or evacuation, $3,000 to $8,000. Motorcycles or bicycles for fuel-efficient backup transport, $2,000 to $8,000. Skills and knowledge. You're investing in yourself. Advanced courses in everything, medical, mechanical, agricultural, defensive tactics, $2,000 to $5,000 over time. Conclusion: Tier 5 is basically building a self-sufficient compound. You can survive for years without outside help. You're in the top 0.1%. But here's the thing. You don't need Tier 5 to survive a zombie apocalypse. Most people will never get past Tier 1. If you do Tier 1 properly, you're ahead of 99%. Tier 2 puts you in the top 10%. Tier 3, top 5%. Tier 4, top 1%. The key is starting now, not waiting for the outbreak, not panicking when it happens. Starting today with what you have. Organize your pantry, fill some water containers, learn some skills. Every step makes you more prepared. And remember, physical stuff is only part of it. The most important things are knowledge, skills, and mindset. You can have $1 million of gear and starve to death if you don't know how to use it, or you can have almost nothing and survive through ingenuity, adaptability, and determination. Learn to cook from scratch, learn basic first aid, learn to filter water, learn to stay calm under pressure, learn to work with others, learn to improvise. These skills are free, they're yours forever. Nobody can take them from you. Build community, your neighbors, your friends, your family. A group is stronger than an individual. You can watch each other's backs, you can share resources, you can specialize. One person is good at medical, another at mechanics, another at gardening. Together, you cover all the bases. Stay healthy now. Exercise, eat right, don't smoke. When the apocalypse comes, you're going to be doing physical labor, running, fighting. You need to be in shape. Start now. Stay informed. Know what's happening in the world. Know the threats. Monitor the news. Have a plan. If there's reports of a strange illness, you're alert. You start filling water containers before anyone else even thinks about it. And most importantly, maintain hope. Preparedness isn't about fear. It's about confidence. You're prepared so you don't have to be afraid. When everyone else is panicking, you're calm. You know what to do. You've practiced. You've planned. The zombie apocalypse might never happen, probably won't, but being prepared for it means you're prepared for hurricanes, earthquakes, power outages, job loss, economic collapse, pandemics, anything. The skills and supplies overlap. Preparedness is just good life planning. So start small, start today, start with Tier 1, work your way up. And when the dead rise, when everyone else is screaming and running and dying, you'll be in your fortress, secure, supplied, ready. You'll survive, you'll thrive, you'll rebuild. That's it. That's how you survive the zombie apocalypse, from household items to a full fortress, from $0 to whatever you're willing to invest. It's all laid out. Now go make it happen, and when the zombies come knocking, you'll be ready.